Welcome to Healing Whole, the podcast. I'm your host, Callie. I'm a certified personal trainer and fitness instructor. I also happen to be extremely passionate about holistic living. With close to 10 years of experience, I've worked with clients from all walks of life. I also know a healthy and holistic lifestyle can be a little overwhelming. I'm here to break it down for you and take you on my journey to healing whole. Remember, the materials and content within this podcast are intended as general information only and are not to be considered a substitute for medical advice or treatment. Hello, and welcome to Healing Whole, the podcast, episode 8. I'm here today at the Balance Wellness Boutique with Becca White. Becca is a Lamaze certified childbirth educator, Reiki practitioner, and the creator of the Birth Affirmation Deck, which I will say is beautiful. You need to check them out. She is teaching an alternative method of childbirth education in an effort to positively impact the way women transform into mothers and navigate their way into motherhood. So welcome, Becca.
Hey, Callie. Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks.
Good. So that was a lot. Tell me, let's start out with just telling me kind of how you got into this lifestyle and this holistic way of living, and then we'll get into all the other stuff you do because you have a lot going on. You offer a lot, and I want to make sure people know that, but I want to see where you started from first.
Okay, so I would have to say that what really got me on this journey was whenever I got pregnant with my son, which is almost 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Which is crazy to think how far I've come and how much has changed in 5 years.
In a short time.
Yeah. But really, I didn't know then what was going on. I just knew that what I was doing wasn't working. Mm-hmm. And I slowly started to look for support and resources and just other people who were doing something different than I was that looked good to me and felt good to me. So it was my pregnancy that really got me realizing that there was a lot more to life than just what I'd been doing and how I'd been living.
Where did you start?
Like the first thing?
Yeah.
So I would say the first thing, I call it my gateway drug into this, was lemon essential oil.
Okay.
So I was really worried about swelling during my pregnancy because, that's like one of the big things that we talk about is like, oh, swollen ankles, swollen feet, swollen this. So I was talking to my midwife that I ended up finding.
So
did
you find the midwife, did you know you wanted a midwife from the beginning, or did it take you time to find the midwife?
Definitely took me time.
Okay.
So I guess that would probably be the start. I went to probably an OB a month whenever I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. So like my first month, I saw one doctor, it wasn't right, Second month, third month, fourth. I didn't find our midwife until I was 6 months pregnant with our son. So thankfully, she took us on, and it was meeting her was literally mind-blowing. She was the first person to talk to my baby like he was a human.
Oh, that's great.
Actually acknowledge, okay, Becca, you're pregnant and there's an actual baby in there who's going to be a person and who's going to, live and birth into this world and become his own little being, you know what I mean? So sure. I was sold with her whenever I first met her. So yeah.
That kind of changed your perspective and your outlook.
Huge paradigm shift. And then, everything through my pregnancy, as that kind of continued, just kept unraveling all the stuff I didn't know.
That's what I think it always happens, is that you start with, so what I did, I started with personal training and fitness, and then I got into nutrition, and then from there it just waterfalled all over. It's just once you get introduced to this world, and I swear I say this every show. Yeah. Once you get introduced to this world, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it pours out into the rest of your life. Yes. It's inevitable.
Absolutely.
And I really have to thank, there's a girl named Lauren who, she lives in Hawaii now, but I really have to thank her because as I was going to these different doctor's appointments, I was just there's got to be more to pregnancy than what's your weight, what's your height, do you want a flu shot? You know, because that was every single visit. There was no congratulations. There was no, you know, I'm so happy for you, or you look great today, or, you know, any of that, just like treating me as a person. It was very...
It's kind of like factory.
Yeah, very stale,
Yes.
you know, to me. So I reached out to her. She had several babies, you know, already. And she was living in California at the time. And I'm like, how are you guys doing it there? Because this isn't right. This isn't right. I need something else. So she actually asked if I'd ever seen the documentary Business of Being Born, which I can't remember if I've ever told you about.
No, you didn't. But that's interesting. I might go home and watch it.
Yeah, you need to. It's The Business of Being Born. Ricky Lake produced it. If you remember her.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and it's just a very different outlook on birthing and the birth world, and it's basically all about how birth has become a business, the business of being born. So in it, I was introduced to Ina May Gaskin, who is a like world-renowned midwife. I love her and everything she does. She got most of her experience just growing up on a commune back in the 60s and 70s, and she literally, like, boots on the ground, hands in it, learned from hands-on hundreds of women
experience
have their babies. Yeah. So, so then meeting our midwife and everything after that was just very holistic, like looking at the body as a whole, looking at my body, you know, separate from my baby, but also we're this one being.
Working together.
We're working together to have this experience, and that everything I was doing was not only affecting myself, not only affecting my baby, but affecting my family and my community. And we were talking, you know, that's when I got introduced to energy work and like this bigger, greater picture. And it's just literally like been a rabbit hole.
A whirlwind, it sounds like.
Yes.
Crazy how far you can come in just a short amount of time.
Yeah, and it feels like forever and so fast.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works.
It's weird.
So you just said how you got into energy work and things like that. So let's go back to, you know, when I introduced you, I said that was a lot. Tell me, you have a vision for what you're trying to deliver to people. And it's very clear. And I think that's unusual for most people. Their vision is not as clear as yours is. Tell me what that is.
So my vision is that people everywhere know that they can choose what their life looks like, that they can choose what their experience is. Like, that's the big message. But who I'm really seeking right now and who I'm really trying to speak to right now are mothers. Because in America, we don't show up for moms the way that we need to. And that is directly affecting our babies, which means that's directly affecting our youth, which means that's directly affecting the test scores and the bullying and all of this stuff that's happening in the news that we want a resolution for. You know, we want a solution. We want to stop all of this. We need to start by treating the mothers better. Unfortunately, history shows that things aren't going to change until moms speak up. So I want to provide a vehicle that gives moms the confidence and the education and support to lean on when they're asking for this, when they're demanding, you know, what they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that motherhood is empowering. And I notice more now that, or can be empowering. I think I notice mothers wanting to do their own thing more. Whether it be like MLMs or opening their own business or things like that. But I think it can be a really empowering moment. I don't know if it's that we know that we're awesome because we just had a child and we're amazing beings, or what it is. But I think, do you feel like that?
I totally do. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because here's what I think it is. Here's what I know it is. I believe that when we're pregnant, there's this synergy that's created. So this third energy, you have your energy, the baby's energy, but I know that there's this third energy. And if you harness that energy, you can literally use it to awaken everything that's inside of you. You can awaken that potential. Now, on the flip side, if you don't harness that energy, the same way with athletes, right? If they don't know how to harness their adrenaline, it can sabotage you. I believe it to be true that it's the same way with moms. So if we don't prepare for this energy, if we don't prepare for this sensitivity, this vibrational like heightening, then you will spiral out. Hence, postpartum depression and anxiety, which I'm trying to like remove from the dictionary. It's not that. Most of the time it's just, I wasn't a mom and now I'm a mom. Holy, moly.
Yeah, what the heck am I doing here? Yeah.
What's going on? And I think a lot of it is either, I'm not saying that if you're feeling like you're struggling to not talk about it, but
for sure,
I feel like a lot of it is misdiagnosed. And a lot of it, when we do decide to talk about it, when we get over that shame, is, people try to like quiet us down and just say, here's this medication, or go to this group, or get out of my office. When really, I think that if we could prepare for that, to know like, hey, this is going to happen to you, and you have two options. You can run like the wind towards everything that you want out of your life.
Embrace it, yeah.
Yeah, you can embrace it, or you can let it get the best of you.
Yes. So I think that was good what you said. I try to emphasize this to people, but I think that is a way that is taken care of, is medication, and there's so much more that you can do with it. And I take medication personally, but I do so many other things that are holistic in healing, and I wouldn't be okay if I didn't do all those other things. So I appreciate that you're a support for people, and you're showing people that there are other alternatives to just going to your doctor, saying you have anxiety, getting medication, and going home, because that's never going to get to the root cause. Right. So I feel like you're providing a service and a quality offering that people have something to turn to. Yeah.
And I don't ever want anybody to think, because I get this question sometimes. A couple of questions that I usually get. Do I believe in God? Which is a big one.
Yeah.
People always ask me, so like, if you're doing all this stuff, but do you believe in God? The answer is yes.
Of course,
yes, yeah. But outside, that's a whole other story. And then the second thing that I get is, well, are you for medication? It seems like a lot of what you do is against epidurals, or you're totally against a cesarean section, or you're totally against an anxiety med. I'm not saying any of that. I want you to choose.
Have the information
first. And in my experience, in the hundreds of women that I've been talking to and working with over the past 5 years, literally, even if it's a coffee bar conversation, the trend is you walk in, and within your first 30-minute session, you're given a prescription for XYZ.
And they know nothing about your diagnosis or anything.
Nothing at all.
Yes. So I was misdiagnosed for 10 years and on the wrong medication, until someone actually listened to what I had to say.
Yes.
So I totally understand that. I think there needs to be way more support out there.
Exactly. And what we're doing in spiritual childbirth education is, it's not just a physical childbirth education course. So we're not just teaching you what happens to your body, what happens to baby's the size of a cantaloupe, that's great.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's great. It's fun. It's cool milestones. But we're talking about finances. We're talking about relationships. We're talking about, what are you going to do once the baby gets here? We're talking about what you think you're going to do once the baby gets here versus what you're probably actually going to do.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can set the bar really high. We're talking about the differences in feeding, and childcare. We're talking about it holistically. So it's not just, you have this thing inside of you that evacuates during, your guest month, and then you go on with your life, because that's what America wants us to do, is have a cesarean and go back to work in 4 weeks and still breastfeed.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, like, we're going to give you 15 minutes 8 times a day to breastfeed. That's cool, but then you don't want me to miss a meeting or miss a call or, all of this stuff. So, we have that, and then that's really how my coaching business was born.
So go back. You were talking about spiritual childbirth education. Yeah. Tell me about that. That is with someone, correct?
Yeah. So Kate Mienko is the co-creator. She's a certified doula, breastfeeding educator. She's a mom herself. She's just like an all-around awesome awesome person. I have to say she loves Adam Levine and his pelvis tats. She's gonna die. That's the running joke though. But she's great. Like she's into this.
Her vision seems very clear, as yours is.
Yes.
So I just think that's a blessing, because really, and I was going to say this earlier, I think that people were looking for something like you. In our area where we're at, specifically, people were looking for something like you. And when you came out, but you know what I mean? When you came out, it was kind of like, oh, I can breathe now. Like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Almost. So I think that you two working together it's beautiful. You guys go together very well. And your vision is both very clear.
Yeah, and she's very, like I always joke with her, she's like the scientific one. If you want stats, if you want ratios, if you want exactly what happens anatomically, like you talk to Kate about it, you know. Me, on the other hand, I'm more of like the intuitive pull, the spiritual stuff, that's great, but now what? You know, like let's talk about it this way. So we definitely... together it's a really good
combination.
Duo. Yeah, it's really cool.
So the course, is it all online?
It will be as of June 1st.
Okay.
So we did a few test rounds, you know, like just kind of getting it out there. The curriculum's been written for months, but we're finding that like we're generating a lot of talk online, and
easier for moms.
Exactly. And we're just trying to make it more convenient, because we realize it's hard, especially if you're expecting like your second, third, fourth, whatever, to get out of the house and to come and do all of that. And we had it's pretty robust. Like it's not a 2-hour class. Like the whole thing's going to end up taking probably 12 to 15 hours for you to get through. I mean, it's a legitimate course based off of the Lamaze principles. So, it's legit. I will say that. It's legit.
Awesome.
But what we want to do now is make it so that it's more convenient and more accessible, and that we're not just limiting the information to people here, but if somebody in California or
wants to do it anywhere,
wherever in the world, you know, want to tune in, then they can basically register, and you buy the course material and you move through it at your own pace.
That's what I was going to ask. Is there like a meeting? Is it like a college class where you have to check in at a certain time, or you just go at your own pace throughout the entire course?
So you'll receive all of the curriculum up front.
Okay.
We'll have a loose schedule put together with Facebook Live meetings or Zoom meetings.
Okay.
You know, that's usually what we use. So it's kind of like group meetings periodically scheduled throughout the course. So we'll suggest that you work on Module 1 for maybe a week and a half, and then we'll talk on this date about anything that comes up.
Okay.
So that way you're working through it on your own, but you still have support.
You're not alone.
Exactly. You still have us. We have a private Facebook group for anyone who purchases the content. And then we want to do like these live events. So we want to have maybe like one live event per cycle where we all get together, just kind of celebrate that we completed it, talk together. That way all the moms who have been meeting each other through the Zoom meetings can actually meet each other in person. Just like a really nice like send-off event. And that we can meet them too, because we're so used to just like digital stuff. And while that's so amazing and convenient,
there's nothing like an in-person connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how long is that course?
Right now it's 4 modules.
Okay.
But like I said, we're going to be, between all the work, about 20 hours probably worth of content.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you guys will just, as you move along with it and as the group moves along with it.
Yep.
Okay. So there's no, it's probably not going to be like extremely overwhelming. Like I have to get this done at this time. So it'll be nice for moms.
Yeah. Not at
perfect.
It's nothing about it will be stressful. And to be honest, we have so much bonus content too. You know, we have so many friends who are in the birth world that they're like, hey, you know, what if I did a 30-minute segment on pelvic floor health? And hey, what if I did this on blah, blah, blah? And we're like, absolutely.
You can just add that in really at any time.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be more information and content in there.
Yeah. And once you register, you're in forever. So as the course grows, you stay in. You stay
really
in the
good.
Facebook group. If you have a second child, it's still there for you. Yeah. So we're
That's
not going to
fantastic.
like revoke anything.
Yeah, that's a great deal. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So tell me about, you do a birth affirmation deck.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Like, who?
I can't even take credit for it. Honestly, I can't. This is an exact example of a download. Like, that's what I call it. You know, people ask me, do I believe in God? And I'm like, who else could come up with these
amazing things?
Because it's not me.
Yes.
But I just know when I was pregnant, both times, even though I was in two completely different places, mm-hmm. I still felt like really alone and really picky about who I was going to talk to about things.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to sabotage myself. I didn't want to go being super excited about a decision that I had made just for someone to be like, why would you ever do that? You know, it's really hard to find like-minded people. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I really would have just liked to have something that I could turn to whenever I was really like maybe not having a good day, or just to start my day off a little better. So one day I was just like, God only knows what I was doing, but I was just getting blasted with all of these affirmations, just all these like beautiful like sayings. I pulled out my computer or journal or whatever, and I'm just writing them all down. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what this is about, but that's an example of being led. You know, you have this idea, you might not see the big picture, but follow it and do it, and it will come. You know, the rest will come. So I had all these different ideas, and then it just started coming. I was like, these need to be on cards. These need to be in the hands of expecting moms. I need this like watercolor stuff going on. Like, I have no idea, where am I going to find a watercolorist? Like, are you crazy? Yeah. How much is this going to cost me? A graphic designer? Like, I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Seems like a big feat. To do, you know what I mean? To do that. Can be overwhelming.
Yeah. And it took every bit of like 18, 19 months for me from literally having the idea, having those affirmations, to receiving them, about 19 months.
And you stuck with it. You didn't I don't know. Did you let anything discourage you along the way? You got it done.
I did take like a 2-3 month hiatus from just about everything late last year, which
everybody needs that. I took a 2-3 month hiatus too, just these past few months, and I came back and feel like myself.
Exactly.
So you have to do that sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
You're not selfish at all.
And I think it's important for people to know, if you need a break, take the break.
Yes.
And don't decide when it's over. Like, let yourself figure it out. Don't say, I'm going to take a week-long break. Mm-hmm. Say, I'm going to take an undefined break. And whatever happens, happens. So when I got back from that, though, I really saw the need, and it like felt like it was time. Like, I literally felt like I was pregnant with it, and I had to like birth it out.
Yeah.
So
I've never seen, there may be, but I've never seen a deck like that before.
There are some out there, but I really am partial to mine.
Well, of course. It is beautiful. I've seen the cards online and things like that, and I saw some when I first came in. It's gorgeous. I love how it's set up. The art on it is just fantastic.
Yeah, which I have to do a shout out for sure. So Shai's art studio. Shai's the artist.
Okay.
Essentially, I would give her the affirmation. I would tell her this is what I'm seeing, and she never had to repaint one. Like, she was.
You guys just were on it together.
I have no idea how she channeled whatever she was channeling to get these images, but gorgeous. Like, gorgeous.
And then, so earlier you said you were into energy work, so I want to talk a little bit about energy for a second. Do you feel like these people were pulled to you because you were putting out that energy?
Yes.
That you needed to get these cards done, that the people, like you said, the water, what was the watercolor or whatever it was? Yeah. Like, they were pulled to you?
Yeah, I literally set an intention. I was like, I want watercolor. It has to be watercolor. How am I going to find somebody? And I'm not kidding, Callie. Within days, somebody was like, well, have you met Shai? And I think that's also the importance of talking about what you're trying to manifest.
Absolutely.
Because if you're withholding, a lot of people will withhold it because they're like, well, I don't want anyone to know.
Or they're scared it might not work out, so they don't want to say anything.
Yeah, they're like, I'm not sure, you know, or I don't want anyone to copy what I'm doing. Because I felt like that for a while. And then I'm thinking, Becca, no one's as crazy as you. No one's going to do this.
And no one has your spin either. No one is ever going to have the spin that you put on it. Or I put on it, or whoever puts on it. So don't worry about that. Yeah,
exactly. So then I found Shy. We got to working on that. And as we're working on that, I'm playing around with things like Photoshop and stuff I thought I could figure out.
It's hard.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to do this. And it looked awful. And I'm thinking, I keep hearing in the back of my head, Becca, if you're going to do this, you got to do it right.
Exactly, yes.
Don't try to just like rig something up here that, no, don't.
Yeah.
So I set the intention, and I found out that somebody that I had known for a few months has been a graphic designer for like 12 years.
Yeah.
And is so fluent in Photoshop and stuff. So she and I got together, and her name's Heather from Branded Elements. She's from Connellsville.
Okay.
And she was the one who like reignited that for me, because like every day for weeks, we were sitting in here until the wee hours of the night. And I'd be like, can you move that to the left a little? Can you move that to the right a little?
It's very specific, and you want it to be exactly what you want it to be.
Yes.
Because it's your baby. It really is your baby.
And she was so understanding of that, because she knew that it, and it wasn't even like me necessarily. It was just like, this is how I saw it.
Yes.
And this is how it has to be. And she made it happen.
So how did it feel when you got your first deck?
I think I was in denial. I don't think I really knew what was happening. It was probably a week later where I'm like, oh my God.
Holy shit.
They're here. They're here. Because at some point it's like, well, you know they're coming.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
And you know, this is a great analogy for having a baby. Because I think that I had the same feeling when my children were born. Mm-hmm. And I found myself wondering, like, shouldn't I be more excited about this? And it was something I was really ashamed to say for a while. But as I started speaking up, I was finding that like almost every other mother has that feeling.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's been 9.5 months. Like, of course there's a baby.
Yeah.
You know, but you're sitting there just thinking like, okay, so, and I feel like even weird saying it now, but I know what it is now. But it's like, okay, so the baby's here. Now what? Now what? Because we're still people, you know, and we still have our own list of things, or, you know, visions, passion, whatever.
Yep, definitely.
But yeah, when I got the first deck, it took me a minute to really like soak into that. Like, it's time to get these out.
Here. Yeah. I think I feel like that with my wellness event almost every year. It's like, I am excited for it to be here, but it's almost like I've been planning it for so long.
Yeah. It's like, of course.
I'm just ready for it. Yeah. I'm just ready for it. I'm ready for it to be here.
Yeah.
So you also do retreats.
Yes.
Tell me about those.
Okay. So the retreats are part of what I'm now referring as like the coaching leg of my business. So for the past couple of years, I've been doing 2 retreats a year, intimate retreats, no more than 12 people. And the real purpose behind it was to just bring something like that to this area, because there's really not much. I mean, unless you go to a yoga retreat, which isn't everyone's jam, you know, there's not anywhere for women to just go and be themselves. And, you know, the ones that I've been doing in the past is massages, Reiki, some self-development work, energy work, just different things during the day.
Yeah.
I had my last one in March, which was really great.
It looked beautiful.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
It was really fun. But I'm actually announcing this here for the first time. I've decided that I'm not doing any more local retreats.
Okay.
That I'm going to start taking them to places that people want to go, but probably wouldn't go themselves.
Okay.
So I'm looking at, I have a mini retreat Yeah, I can talk about it. I was going to say, should I say
manifest it?
Yeah.
Manifest it.
Yeah, I have a mini retreat scheduled for the middle of August in New York, which seems kind of weird, but more details will come out later and it'll make sense.
I think that sounds cool.
Yeah. I have something, I'm looking at Sedona and Florida, Asheville, North Carolina. I want to get out to Colorado. Yeah.
If you want to talk about it, why are you switching?
Oh, so I just feel complete.
Okay.
With what I had been doing. I feel like this is just like the next
step.
Logical step. Now, with that being said, I'm still going to be doing like one-on-one exclusive days with people. Okay. So I will still most likely be creating the retreat experience, but for just maybe like 3 people.
So smaller groups.
Smaller group, very intimate, very high touch, very like, Callie, what are you experiencing right now, and where do you want to be when we leave today?
Yeah.
And then send you along with like a game plan, whether it's for your business or your life or whatever. Because a lot of people come to the retreats and they feel really great and they feel really inspired, but you might have heard me say this, I'm getting out of things that are helping people temporarily, and I want to get more into things that are helping them long term.
For their lifetime.
Yeah. So it's great that you're coming and having a good day with me, but I want you to keep that energy up in the weeks and months to come.
So you also do coaching?
Yes.
So can someone that comes to a retreat then hire you as a coach afterwards?
Yes.
So tell me about your coaching. What does that involve?
So
how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah. So right now, if you are online, you can go to purposeandpotential.org. Right now, I have a 30-day, 60-day, and 2-week intensive course.
Okay.
It's really unlike what other coaches do, but I'm tailoring to mothers. A lot of coaches will have like a 12-month program.
Yeah.
As a new mom, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing next
tomorrow.
Week. You know, let alone 12 months from now. I'm not investing thousands of dollars in a year-long commitment.
For sure.
So I'm really reaching out to people who are like, okay, I'm like kind of clear about this. I know I want to, you know, a lot of people that I've been helping are leaving their full-time jobs and starting their own businesses. That seems to be like my...
That's what I feel like when we said earlier, motherhood is like empowering that women want to do their own thing. This is like the time of the mom and the woman to do your own thing and just follow your heart.
Yeah, that, and I mean, I highly recommend that you do it. And if we can do it before you have the baby, even better, because it'd be so much easier in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But work is not set up for mothers.
It's not.
It's not. So we can either bitch about it and be miserable every day at a job making somebody else money and doing something that we feel like we have to do, or we can prepare ourselves for starting our own business. And I want to let people know that your passion can be monetized faster than you think, because a lot of people think, well, I don't even have anything to do. And that's part of the coaching. So we talk about all of these things that you're actively doing that you could probably be charging people for. And not in a way to be greedy or anything. Because
no, but you have to live.
You have to live, and you have to be compensated for your gifts, for your talents.
And there's nothing wrong with that, with being compensated for your gifts or talents. I struggled for a very long time charging for personal training because I loved it so much. I just felt like, I don't know if I didn't feel worthy or what it was, but I felt like I was being greedy taking money for it until finally I realized I am doing a service for people and I am helping improve their lives and change their lives. And there's nothing wrong with taking money for that.
Totally.
It's, you know, you have to live. You have to live. And if you could do it for free, great. That would be wonderful, but it's just not the world we live in.
Right. It's not the world we live in. And 9 times out of 10, you were probably doing something full or part-time to earn your income, and then on the side doing personal training pro bono for people just because you enjoyed it, when that could have actually been an amazing side hustle that was started sooner.
Yes.
And we don't have the support. So, you know, I'm really trying to get into people's heads and let them know, like, hey, you can do this, you can charge for this, you're worthy of this. And again, you know, I worked full-time whenever I had my son, I continued to work full time. You know, I had a pretty flexible schedule and stuff like that, but there's a way to manage that. But I just think outside of motherhood completely, when you look at how much you're making an hour versus how much time you're actually putting in, you know, there are ways to make more money faster if you're looking for freedom, if you're looking for more time with your kids. You know, there are ways. You just have to be open to that.
And you can help guide people because sometimes you just need an outside opinion.
Yeah.
And voice.
Yeah.
Not guide them, but just show them what they already know.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
And I mean, we do get into like the more practical stuff. And, you know, if you need help building a website or if you need help finding these people, whether it's attorneys, accountants, whatever, like the full gamut. I mean, this is my second business. I've had another business for 7 years that's been really successful. And I'm just finally realizing now that I'm stepping into the worthiness of saying, I do know what I'm doing and I can help other people, but I can't continue to do it for free.
Absolutely, yeah.
So.
Absolutely. So you have a Facebook group online.
Yes.
What is the Facebook group?
It's called The Village. And it's actually, the URL, I don't even know if you know this, but it's actually facebook.com/group/The Village of Purpose and Potential. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I went through this because it used to be a couple other things, but I feel really good about what it is now. It's been The Village. It's where I want people to come to feel like they can really step into who they are, and step into their purpose.
And they're not alone.
Yeah,
I like it. And so we're at the AB right now. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, but I just like the Village with the AB. So Balance Wellness Boutique is housed within the AB, which is the building. I just I don't know, I like the feel of it too. I don't know why, I just think it all goes together.
Yeah. When
you've had groups here, I think it just vibes well.
Yes.
It just vibes well.
It's so cool. And I mean, it originated as it takes a village to raise a baby, but really it takes a village to support the mom. That's where we're at. And also, because I get this question a lot, is the village for only mothers? Because a lot of people get kind of confused in the way I'm relaying things. My ideal client is somebody who's thinking about family planning, so I want all kind of, I believe that if you feel attracted to somebody or their message, that you should go regardless, so you never want to limit yourself there. But yeah, I do want people to know, for those who are listening, if you like what we're talking about, join the Village. It's not moms.
It's a free group. It's just a group online. It's support. It's other people being there for you.
Come hang out.
Yeah, you hop on from time to time and do live videos and give updates and give support. And then there are other people on there giving tons of support. So it's always been, and I one time you posted something like, are you still here or something like that, just for people to check in. And I mean, the amount of people that you had check in that were still there. Because I'm sure you can feel at times you're not talking to as many people because you're on a computer screen, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that felt nice, but it was amazing to see all these people. I'm still here.
Yeah.
That really need that group.
Yeah. And I think too that
excuse me,
that people don't like to speak up sometimes. So we have a lot of people who, and this is social media in general. You have a lot of people who just kind of scroll through and they just observe, and that's totally fine. But what I've seen over the past couple of years is, somebody will tell me, Becca, I've been following you now for 2 years, and I really want to come to the retreat, or it's really inspirational how XYZ, and it makes you feel good. But if you think about you, that's how I am too. I'll follow someone. Gabby's a prime example. I followed her for a little while to see what she was about before I was actually I want to work with her, but being consistent and showing up for people is what's on my to-do list for this year, just being more present. So
tell me about Gabby.
So Gabby Bernstein, everyone has to shut this off right now and go Google
I've looked her up.
Have you? And what do you think about her so far?
I like her. I like her approach to things.
Yes.
I need to watch more. I'm on a Rachel Hollis kick and a Tony Robbins kick.
Yes. Love Tony Robbins.
I love him. Every time if I have a friend over, I'm we need to watch I Am Not Your Guru. I just need to show you this. I need to show you this.
It's amazing.
And then I'll go through and I'll be oh wait, now we have to watch this YouTube video. Now we have to listen to this podcast.
So Nate and I have talked about going to Date with Destiny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, if you go, let me know, because I want to go so bad. And that would be a dream come true to go
a lot of his stuff is really affordable, considering it's the Tony Robbins.
It's not that awful. And I mean, they say it's so X amount of dollars, but there are more affordable ones if you sit further in the back or whatever.
Oh, totally.
So, and if you think about what you're getting out of it,
right.
I mean, it can truly be life-changing.
And before he's not getting any younger, So I really want to experience him before, he's not here anymore, because he's literally a living legend.
He is amazing.
He's
just amazing.
Yeah.
And he just does it to, he always says, to end suffering. He wants to end suffering for others because of what he, has
And the
gone
one
through.
thing that really inspired me about him, I think it might have been in that documentary, is he talks about how, I think his to quote him was, he said, "I built this
motherfucker," or something like that.
Motherfucker. But he was saying it like, I built this guy.
Yes.
Like, I didn't just wake up one day and was the Tony Robbins. Like, I built this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I can build.
I'm getting chills.
Like, I know. Like, I can build me. Like,
whatever you want to be.
Exactly. Like,
yes.
He didn't just take handouts. He didn't just say, I might do that because everyone else is doing it. He went out and said, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing it. And every day, I just quoted him this morning whenever I did a Facebook Live. He primes his day. He wakes up ready to kill it. There's no part of him. And I'm sure, he's human. I'm sure he has his bad days too. But there's no part of him that's like, I'm just going to hang out.
Everything is with intention, I feel like,
exactly.
with him.
He's crazy awesome. But Gabby.
Go back to Gabby, yes.
So Gabby, I share the story about how I found her a lot, but essentially she's a spiritual teacher. She teaches from the text A Course in Miracles. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but a lot of what almost everything she teaches is from that book. And I just really like that she's practical. She can explain some of the headiest, trippiest stuff in such easy to understand terms that it just resonated with me. And, I mean, I don't even have words half the time, but she brings something out of me that has always been there, but she brings something out of me and out of these other people. It's just incredible. Just her energy and her intent for other people.
Yeah.
She's very just pure.
Yeah.
I guess is the best way to describe it. So I had the opportunity to go through her level 1. It's a fully digital course now.
Oh, okay.
I did that last year. After doing that, I just needed more. So I went through her level 2 masterclass.
That was in person.
At a place called Kripalu in Massachusetts. It's a yoga and retreat center. So, with a pretty intimate group, considering we're talking about somebody who's, been on Dr. Oz and Oprah's Super Soul Sunday and stuff. Like, she's a massive following. I got to work with her, and it was a really special time because she was pregnant at the time.
Oh,
and,
sweet.
Something's just different about people when they're pregnant. Yeah. So I think that that's really special. And then I went last month to work with her and her team for Bestseller Day, which is something that they offer once a year. She's a New York Times bestseller ×7.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
So she knows what she's doing. And I went there to work with her for the weekend on the book that I'm writing.
Yes, you told me that you're writing a book.
So
that's very exciting.
It's been like a full circle moment. And the other full circle moment is when I first met her about 2 years ago in New York for one of her book launches, was around the time that I had the idea for the deck. And she had been openly talking about her conception journey and how they hadn't been pregnant yet and all this other stuff. And I had the intention that, by the time she would be pregnant, that the deck would be done. Well, that didn't quite happen, but she did have her baby, and I'm glad she didn't have to wait for me to get the deck done to have her baby. But when I was at Bestseller Day last month, I was able to give her a deck.
Oh, and wonderful. Yeah, I'm sure she appreciated that so much.
Yeah, it was like really, really cool. But yeah, it's just awesome. But she's helped me so much.
It's beautiful that you have that connection with someone and they can really like pull out of you what is inside that maybe you can't exactly see yourself at the time. Yeah,
and while I never think that we should put our, we learn to not put people we look up to on a pedestal, to not really like look up to them, but I think that it's important to always have a mentor, to always be investing in yourself as much as you're investing in other people. A lot of people who are in corporate jobs, like how much training do you do a year for that job? Okay, take that times like 5 and do that for yourself and your own personal effort. So I think a lot of people think I'm maybe crazy sometimes or wonder how I'm able to like do these things, but
you're just investing in yourself.
I'm investing myself, and I treat it like school. I treat it like it's something I have to do, and I make time for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's amazing.
So she wrote a book called May Cause Miracles.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah.
And you are doing a course
around it.
In that now, right? Yeah. So tell me about that.
Yeah, after we left our level 2 class, during our level 2 class, she kind of taught us a little bit more about her method, why she wrote the book, what her intention was, and all that. And she encourages us to work people through the book as a group coaching program because it's a 40-day guidebook. So, I'm sure you see this with personal training. Someone hears like 40 days of squats and they're like, no.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but they're like, oh, okay, well, we're going to do it together and kind of have an accountability group. And we're going to talk about it.
Plank and push-up challenge group going on now. It was a 15-day. Now I asked them, do they want to do a 28-day one?
That's awesome.
So it's nice that we have a little group going together.
And how many of those people would have done it just by themselves?
They probably wouldn't have.
Probably wouldn't. Yeah. And not saying it can't be done.
No, of course.
But chances are you're going to fall off the wagon if Callie's not like where you guys at.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So basically, we're going to start May 5th for this next cycle. I did one late last year, and it runs through 7 Sundays.
Okay.
So essentially, I have the book right here. We work through every day individually, and then on Sundays we meet online.
Okay.
And I talk a little bit about what I learned from Gabby. People share what they're going through, and we just kind of like support one another, but it's definitely group coaching style. So we're in a Zoom meeting. We can see each other, or you can like mute yourself and block your video if you want to. And then everyone gets the replays to that. So we're supporting each other through a Facebook group. We're supporting each other, and I'm teaching once a week on the Zoom meeting, and then you're like actively working through the material on your own. So it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, we did it last year.
That sounds fantastic.
And people were like, people really liked it. It's easy to get defeated. It's easy to fall off the wagon, but you also learn to not judge yourself and to have patience for yourself. Nice. So it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
I don't think so. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. This was fun. So tell me where you're located at for the boutique. Tell me where people can find you on Facebook and Instagram and your website. Just plug
all
everything.
That stuff.
Yes.
So the boutique is in Uniontown. We're inside the Ave, which is on Gallatin in Uniontown. It's by appointment only now. So if you want to come in and check the place out, just message me, get a hold of me. But definitely find the Village group on Facebook, which is the Village of Purpose and Potential. But if you go to balancewellnessboutique.com, or if you find me on Instagram at the Becca White, you'll find a link with everything that I have happening. So
awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a great time.
Yes, me too.
And I'm so happy for people to learn more about you and to have this support in this group and just like a loving arms to be welcomed into.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So it's
Thanks,
great.
Callie.
Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.